Hello everyone and welcome back to another Argent Saga video. Today we're going to continue our set analysis videos. I've already done two. I've done Dark and Air. So if you haven't seen those, go over and check them out. I suggest that you watch the Dark one first as it is the first one in the series. But if you're just new here, I essentially go over all of the new cards that are going to be in the Betrayal set, but based on the element. And today we're doing fire. So I've reviewed the cards. I've gone through them. Everything that will be released in this set from common all the way to the Argent rares. I just want to preface that I am not an expert. I haven't had any competitive experience in this game yet. I have played card games pretty much my entire life, so I just give my opinion on what I think their value is currently, and if you disagree, that's fine. Again, just my opinion. But I hope you enjoy the video, and like, comment, and subscribe, is always appreciated. I'm going to be uploading plenty of videos on this card game, so hope you enjoy. So today we're going to be reviewing the fire element cards that are coming out in Argent Saga's very first set, Betrayal. So the fire element revolves around the champion Dragon Holt the Dracoborg. His effect reads: exhaust, pay 1, you discard 1 fire unit from your hand, add 1 non-legendary dragon unit from your deck to your hand. So with that being said, whenever we're going through the cards in this set, let's try and see if any of the cards, interact with this ability and Dragon Holt himself. So with Dragon Holt, we also have the Spirit card, so let's go check that out. So the Spirit for this element is Corona the Fire Spirit. His effect reads: once per turn during your turn, you can discard 1 fire unit from your hand, and then you deal 500 to a target unit. You can also Soul Burst him, meaning flipping him face down so you can't use his effects for the rest of the match, and then a target unit gains quickness. So there you go. Whenever we're looking at cards from this set, maybe some can benefit from Corona. So let's get into the set review. So our first common is Dragonic Zone, which is a 2-cost augment that says exhaust. Target fire unit gets plus 1000 this turn. You can also sacrifice this card and return a target dragon unit from your discard zone to your hand. So initially, I don't think this card's very good, but maybe there could be some dragon units that you want to use multiple times, and the sacrificing of the augment to get something back from your discard zone could be valuable. But on the surface, this card doesn't look very good. Next, we have Enraged Attack, which is a 3-cost spell that reads: put into play 1 unit with cost 3 or less from your hand, and if you do, deal 1000 to target unit. So, on the surface, it doesn't look too bad. You're essentially trading. You pay 3 to activate it, and then you get to summon a 3-cost unit from your hand, and then also deal 1000. But I don't know if it's worth the deck space, to be honest, because you're essentially just dealing 1000 to a target unit. Next is Mech Dragon Prototype, which is a 7-cost unit with 4000 power. It has the quickness ability, and it also has an effect that says while you have 1 or less cards in hand, this card has Destroyer. So whenever it attacks a tower, it actually attacks 2 towers. I guess this card's okay. 7 cost is pretty expensive, and if you're playing this and you only have 1 card or 0 cards in your hand, I would say you're in a bad spot. So I don't really know if this is winning you anything, and I'm not so sure you want a 7-cost unit in your hand early game. So next we have Phoenix Flame Strike, which is a 3-cost spell that says if you control a Rowena unit, this card costs 1 less to play. Deal 1000 to all units your opponent controls. So if you control a Rowena unit, this only costs 2, and you deal 1000 to all units your opponent controls. This seems like a pretty good common, especially if your fire deck is going to base itself around these Rowena units. So let's see what else the set has to offer. Next we have Roya Daredevil, which is a 4-cost 2500 power unit that has an arrive ability that says destroy all units with cost 1. I mean, I guess this card's okay, but I don't see you getting a whole lot of value out of it. Maybe destroying 1 or 2 cost 1s, you know, taking care of a light tower token if you hit it early. I mean, that's something, but I don't know. I'm guessing you have better 4-cost units in red than to play this. Next, we have Roya Dragon Caller, which is a 3-cost unit with 2000 power. It has an arrive ability that says add 1 dragon unit with cost 2 or less from your deck to your hand. I traditionally like cards like this wherever you gain advantage, so it replaces itself for you to use that dragon that you just added to your hand, maybe for your Dracoborg's effect. So this kind of plays into our champion. So yeah, on the surface, this seems pretty good. I like this as a 3-drop. Not too bad. Next, we have Roya Dragon Priest, which is a 3-cost unit with 1500 power. And it reads, all dragon units you control get plus 1000. So boosting your dragons is good, but having only 1500 power for a 3-drop seems kind of costly. So I don't think this card's very good. Next, we have Roya Scarlet Slayer, which is a 3-cost 1000 power unit that has quickness. I don't think this card's very good. 1000 power for a 3-cost is definitely not optimal, and the quickness ability does not save it from that. So, not good. Next, we have Scarlet Egg, which is a 1-cost 500 power unit with Guardian. It also cannot attack, but then it has an effect that says if you control 2 or more other dragon units, you can sacrifice this card and search your deck for a dragon unit with cost 2 or less and put it into play. So, I don't know, not too bad. The fact that it can be a chump blocker early on is nice. And then also, if it lasts for a couple turns, you can sacrifice it and search for any dragon that's 2 or less cost. So, I don't know, not too bad. So our last common is Spitfire Dragon, which is a 5-cost unit with 3000 power. And it reads, when this card attacks, deal 1000 to target unit. So this card's okay, but nothing to write home about. And I'm guessing we have better 5-drops than this. Its effect is a little too basic. So now we will move on to the rares for the fire element. And the first one is Rowena's Pet Dragon, which is a 3-cost unit with 2000 power. It has an arrive ability that says if you control another Rowena unit, deal 1000 to target unit. Also, it says other Rowena units you control cannot be targeted by spells or abilities. So I really like this card. Being able to deal 1000 to a target unit on an arrive, while also protecting all other Rowena units from spells and abilities, is really cool. So it's not just spells, it's also spells and abilities. So it's going to be hard to out your other Rowena units if this is on the field. So it's a good rare. Next, we have Roya Wyvern Rider, which is a 4-cost unit with 1500 power. It has quickness, and it also has the Ruined ability. So whenever it's destroyed or sacrificed, you can put a Roya unit token into play. To me, this is pretty lackluster for a rare. Having quickness is nice, and also a Ruined ability on the same unit, but having 1500 powers is rough. I don't know if you're going to get a whole lot of value out of this card, to be honest. Next, we have Molten Explosion, which is a 2-cost spell that has Instacast, which is kind of funny because it does not have the lightning bolt in the top left corner like most Instacasts. That's probably a little typo. but it has instacast for a cost of 2, and it says destroy target unit with 2,000 power or less. So a pretty good card. You know, having a 2 cost for 2,000 power is nice. So definitely not bad, not a bad rare. Next we have Altar of the Dragon God, which is a 2-cost augment that reads exhaust, pay 1, destroy target dragon unit you control, and if you do, search your deck for a dragon unit with the same cost and put it into play. Yeah, so this isn't a bad augment. A couple of the dragon units have decent ruined abilities, so whenever you use this on them, you're getting max value. Yeah, so definitely not a bad rare. I don't know how many you'd play. Maybe it's a one of. I really don't know how much value the augments bring to the game yet, just because, you know, this is the very first set. We're only going off of the intro decks, so you know, just in a vacuum, this card seems pretty good. So we'll see though. So our last rare is actually the special shard for the element, which is Wyvern Crystal, and it reads, if your spirit isn't fire, this card comes into play exhausted. So like the special shards, if you don't have the spirit for that element, it comes into play exhausted. You can exhaust this and produce 1, like the basic shards and like all the other special shards. But its unique ability is an arrive ability that reads add target dragon unit from your discard zone to your hand, and if you do, discard 1 card from your hand. So you know, it's a very good special shard. Should be running 3s if you run the fire spirit. Yeah, it's very good. So now we're going to move on to the super rares, and our first super rare is actually this element's Omega Magic, which all of the elements received in this set, they each got 1 Omega Magic, and the Omega Magics continue to get better as the game goes on. They get increased effects based on the amount of towers that you have remaining. So the fire element's Omega Magic is Omega Magic Kasai, which is a 2-cost spell with instacast, and it says deal 1,500 to target attacking or blocking unit. Then if you have 2 or less towers remaining, deal 2,000 to a target unit. So this is very good, just like all the other Omega Magics. So you could possibly be dealing 3,500 power between 2 units for the cost of 2. So very good spell. Next we have Roya Firebomb, which is a 2-cost spell that reads deal 1,500 to target unit and 1,000 to each unit adjacent to it. So on the surface, this card seems really good, but if players are smart, they will not put their units together. That's not to say that they might get into a game state where they're not allowed to do that, or they don't have the opportunity to, so they might have to put units next to each other. But regardless, this is fairly easy to play around, and if they are putting units adjacent to each other, they probably are going to survive the 1,000 power loss that this card provides. So I don't think this card's that good, to be honest, but I guess we'll see if I'm wrong or not whenever the set's released. So our last super rare is Rowena Immortal Princess, which is a 4-cost unit with 2,000 power, and it has the ruined ability, put into play a Rowena the Phoenix from your hand or deck. So we have not seen Rowena the Phoenix yet. I have seen these cards, so I know that it is an Argent rare. A little spoiler for you here. And Rowena the Phoenix is really good. So that makes Rowena the Immortal Princess really good, in my opinion, because you need to play it to get out the Phoenix. So on the surface, this card just looks like a 2,000 power vanilla. But yeah, wait till you see Rowena the Phoenix. So Rowena the Immortal Princess is good because the Phoenix is good. So let's move on to the Argent rares. So here we go. We just reviewed Rowena the Princess, and Rowena the Princess, whenever it is ruined, it brings out Rowena the Phoenix, which is a 6-cost unit with 4,000 power, And it has an Arrive ability that says deal 1500 to all units your opponent controls. And it has a ruined ability of being able to shuffle itself back into its owner's deck. So, I mean, we're seeing a trend here. Anything Argent Rare related is going to be really good. Dealing 1500 to all units your opponent controls is nice. It's not extremely devastating, but 1500 is definitely enough. And the fact that it shuffles itself back into the deck so that you can possibly use it, you know, for future turns makes it really good. So definitely a very good start to the Argent Rares here. So last but not least is our second Argent Rare card for the element. And this card is called Mohammed Dragonic Deity, which is a 8-cost, 5,000 power unit. And it's a legendary dragon that has quickness. It also has an effect that says this card costs 2 less to play if you have 5 or more dragon units with different names in your discard zone. So this plays into our champion and pretty much the fire element strategy of being able to swap dragons. So there's that. And then you also have the Arrive ability that says expel target unit, and if you do, deal 2,000 to each unit that was adjacent to it. So, I mean, this is devastating. The fact that it has quickness and it can attack the turn it comes out, being able to possibly be a 6-cost is really nice, and I think fairly easy for the fire element. And also having an Arrive ability where you expel a target unit and then you can deal 2,000 to the units adjacent to it is pretty devastating. If this card comes out, it's most likely the end of the game in my opinion. So yeah, the fire element has got some good additions in this set. So let's stay tuned for some future videos. I think the next video we're going to do is water. So stay tuned for that, and like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.